Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, some people reached out to me, wanted me to talk about this. Jim Lampley, after the triple header Superfly, which was an awesome card on HBO Boxing, HBO commentator, blow-by-blow commentator Jim Lampley, he did an interview. And they asked him about Mayweather-McGregor. And he says, I haven't seen Mayweather-McGregor. I saw the stoppage. That's all I saw. And then I saw the CompuBox numbers, which told me what happened in the fight. I think Floyd did a brilliant job of doing what he needed to do in the fight and giving the MMA wish clientele something to hold on to. Oh, Conor won the first 3 rounds. I was surprised at the number of boxing experts who accepted the notion that Floyd is actually retired. Why would you be actually retired when you can make that much money that easily? Why not fight a woman next? I think there are all sorts of ways for Floyd to make more money, and I expect him to make more money. Then he just kind of goes on to, do some shameless pub to Canelo Golovkin, which is going to be on his network. Great fight. Nobody's complaining. And I want to talk about, why would you actually be retired when you can make that much money easily? Why not fight a woman next? And unless you live under a rock, Floyd Mayweather, he had a jail stint after the Cotto fight, and there was some kind of plea deal. His ex-girlfriend says he attacked her and stuff like that. I don't know the details. I wasn't there. You know what I mean? Some people think because you take some kind of deal that automatically means you're 100% guilty. Maybe he is guilty. Maybe he isn't. I don't know. Again, I haven't read into the police files, but obviously there's this notion about Floyd Mayweather and domestic violence. You know what I mean? And we've seen this illustrated when Ruben Guerrero, the father of Robert Guerrero, when his son was fighting Floyd, and he was like, "You guys like this guy? Woman beater? He beat up his wife in front of his kids." You know what I mean? He did that whole rant, and then Floyd just like laughing, like, "Okay, right." So, I mean, obviously, to me, this is what Jim Lampley is kind of like. He's making a snarky comment, and he's kind of alluding to Mayweather's past domestic.
What is me?
He's alluding to Mayweather's past domestic violence issue, right? I mean, like I said, you don't have to be a genius. Just like CJ Watson, Conor McGregor, he wore the jersey of the basketball player who played with the Warriors that was allegedly started dating Floyd Mayweather's girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, whatever they were, which created the tension between Mayweather, because allegedly, as the story goes, Mayweather found out she was talking to this basketball player after they broke up or whatever the situation. He was upset and they got in an argument. The argument ensued, and whatever else happened, right? But yeah, I mean, it's just, to me, I look at it like this. Some people, new media is here. I don't know if you guys realize this. I'm not just saying this for my health. New media is killing, and I just think HBO, they need a complete facelift. Like all this stuff. They force certain fighters down our throat. They tell us, it's just like, how often are you going to be wrong? You know what I'm saying? How often will you be wrong? That's my serious question to HBO's commentary team. You know what I mean? You listen to Harold Letterman last night. He was, "Okay, Jim," and he was making like Estrada wasn't even in the fight. He gave Estrada 1 round in the first 6 or 7 rounds, right? And not even just giving him 1 round, but he was not really talking about what Estrada was doing. It was all what Carlos Cuadras, who was getting off first and was doing some crafty work, but Estrada was still in there working. Versus you listen to an actual fighter like Andre SOG Ward, who was part of the telecast, and he's breaking down not just what Cuadras is doing. He was like, "Hey, Estrada, some guys, he's a veteran still. Some guys, they take a minute to get warmed up, and they might be saving themselves for the second half." And it's funny because you come to my channel, "Oh, Ego, you're biased," and all this stuff like that. But in all actuality, who's really biased? Like, who's really being biased? Now, I get it. Some people have personal favorites and stuff like that, but some people don't even attempt to hide how they really feel and they're biased. You know what I'm saying? So that's even worse. And that's what HBO's doing. You know what I mean? They'll make it look like an even fight is one-sided. I was at Triple G versus Jacobs, but I don't think I ever watched it. I don't think I ever watched it in detail, the playback. But I can only imagine what HBO was saying. They probably made it like Jacobs, who was not their HBO fighter, was not doing anything in there. And this has just been the standard. And then like Lampley doing these subliminal disses basically to Floyd. Just what's the basis? What's the point? You think more people are going to tune into Canelo Golovkin than previously was the case because you made that comment? You know what I'm saying? And beyond that, there's a lot of people who, yeah, I love Jim Lampley. Ha ha, gotta love Jim Lampley. You're saying all this stuff. But if you really do your homework, Jim Lampley was accused of domestic violence too. And a lot of y'all don't know that. And this was an ex-girlfriend who was a fiance of his, I believe in about 2007. You'll see the clippings from ABC News, MMA Weekly, you know what I mean, credible websites, credible newsprint. And she claimed, I don't know the outcome, exactly all the details of how it happened, but in 2017, she filed a restraining order against Jim Lampley. You guys see it. She says, I received injuries to my head, neck, and back from his throwing me against the walls and the door, her declaration states. So, again, I don't know all the details, but this goes to say, you guys, anybody, I challenge anybody, look up my rap sheet. Look at my rap sheet. You won't have even a person claiming that I did this, or yeah, I don't have that. You know what I mean? Check all my ex-girlfriends and all that. You know what I'm saying? But Lampley, while you're sending shots, you know what they say? You shouldn't throw stones if you live in a glass house. So, you know what I mean? Only him and her probably know the full truth on what happened that night because they witnessed it. But at the end of the day, you have a domestic violence rap hanging over your head too. And sometimes people settle out of court for money and things like that. That doesn't mean you didn't do it, right? So that's just my thoughts on the whole Jim Lampley situation. And it's just so funny that we live in such a hypocritical society where people, yeah, haha, Jim Lampley, tell him, ha 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 ha. People all the time, Floyd can't read. But you didn't graduate high school either, and you struggle with reading. You know what I mean? But I guess that's the internet. People will point the finger, even if it applies to themselves as well. You know what I mean? I always say this. People would rather look out the window than look in the mirror. You know what I mean? Meaning anybody could look out the window and be like, oh, these neighbors, they're stupid, they're doing this and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and judge what other people are doing. But can you look in the mirror, look at yourself, internalize it and say, man, you got to get off these drugs, or you got to stop hitting your girlfriend, or you got to start taking care of your kid, or whatever issues you have as a man, woman, or whatever. So that's my thoughts on the Jim Lampley thing. I think HBO needs a facelift in terms of their boxing programming, because to me, they have a very good September, but they're ultimately losing the battle to Showtime. And Showtime, everybody clearly knew Showtime was number 2 in boxing to HBO, especially like when Floyd Mayweather was there, because HBO without a doubt had all the best fights. Like you could catch a couple of Showtime fights here, you know what I mean? Mike Tyson was on Showtime at a point, and things like that. So here and there are some good Showtime fights, but it was never like this. It was never like you look at a 12-month calendar year and be like, God damn, Showtime has 25 fights and HBO has like 5 fights. And then on top of that, HBO will be trying to tax you with the pay-per-views versus Showtime. If I'm not mistaken, this year they've only had one pay-per-view, and it had to be pay-per-views. Mayweather McGregor, you can't pay those salaries without making it a pay-per-view. It would have been stupid. You know what I mean? If you did 4 million, they're saying 4 million to 6.5 million. You did that much on pay-per-view, then why would you have given it for free if you have that many paying customers? You know what I mean? So I think HBO is they're losing the battle. They need a facelift, and it's just kind of petty. Canelo Golovkin is a good fight, but I mean, if you hate Floyd so much and all this, one, you got to make sure your backyard is clean too with the domestic violence. But beyond that, he's retired. Who cares? He said he gave a promise to his family, and now Heyman, this was his last fight. So why do you even care? The fight's over. Mayweather McGregor's done. As you see, if you go to my social media, I'm already campaigning and just really promoting the upcoming fights, right? Triple G, Charlo Lubin, you know what I mean? So if you have to limit that to what's on your network, cool. But it's like, why are you even talking about 40-year-old Floyd who's retired, just making little jabs? It just seems petty, you know what I mean? De La Hoya was on the Breakfast Club. He kind of had jabs at Floyd. It's just like, I don't know, it's crazy to me. But that's my thoughts. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.